Hello, welcome to another video, and today I'm going to be drawing based on words again. I only did 2 because I got sick in the latter half of the week, so the first word is, the first word is way too long, so I'll put it up on the screen. It means to be like done, made up, or done on the spot, like improv. Improv, I do have some experience, but it terrifies me, especially on stage. That's kind of the inspiration I thought of when I first saw this word. I thought of the phrase like melting into the floor, like you really just want to sink into the floor. So that's kind of what I used as my inspiration. I think it's a kind of a pretty common response to being put on the spot, so that's what I chose. I had to look up the origin just because it's fun to learn. When you're learning new words, it's pretty interesting. The first thing that I see is a quote that is used to insult music, which I think is hilarious. I can't put the quote, I don't want to say the quote, even though it's from the 1700s, because I don't know how to give proper credit. I don't know, man. But it was used to insult musical composition. Let me see if I can remember it, because I didn't write it down, but it was this musical composition sounds like, and then the word sounds like it was made up on the spot is basically what it meant. And I thought that was really funny. So if you're looking for an intelligent sounding word, or not word, insult, then I guess you could use that. The word is from Latin. The phrase ex tempore, which means specifically out of time, ex meaning out of and tempore meaning time. Learning about this phrase makes me want to draw that specific phrase as an illustration all in of itself. I think that would be really interesting. Maybe I'll do that sometime. It's supposedly, I saw somewhere that it came specifically from medieval Latin rather than ancient, but I couldn't find a source for that, so take that with a grain of salt. Though I used the first definition of made up on the spot, the one that was in the app that I used, I think the other 2 definitions are pretty interesting as well, so I'll go ahead and tell you those. First one is carefully prepared but delivered without notes or texts, and I strive to be that confident and have that good of memory. I wish I had that. I do not. That's why I have a script. That level of confidence, it sounds like a dream. The next one is skilled at or given to the word utterance. I'm not even going to pretend to know what this means. Not this late, my brain not functioning tonight. It's okay. That happens. So let me know what you guys think this specific definition means. And then the third one is happening suddenly, often unexpectedly, and usually without clearly known causes or relationships. This one's pretty interesting because on the surface it expressly goes against what my drawing represents. Obviously the character's gonna feel nervous when she goes on stage because she kind of knows she doesn't know what she's doing. But if you think about it a little bit, the people in the audience, they don't know that the performer doesn't know what they're doing. They don't know that, so they don't know what's led up to it. So if you twist it a little bit, then it still kind of works. So when rendering, I kept the colors dull and dark to be the entire room's I don't know just how to describe the feeling, but yeah, like just scary. And the only bright color is the spotlight, which adds this harsh light. And I think that adds like atmosphere, like she's under this light. And it's like a metaphor for the pressure from like all of the stares from the audience. So yeah, that's my first drawing. This is the longest script I've made for One Piece. So almost 2.5 pages. Lots of research. I love it. The next word is one that I can actually pronounce, and this word is assimilator, or someone who assimilates, someone who can assimilate. It's easier to use and easier to use in a sentence as like a word, I guess. I mean, they're all words. Words make up sentences, but still. This one, I feel like I could have been much more creative. For example, a shapeshifter. But since I had drawn a character vaguely, but still a character, before I decided to draw something else. Assimilate means to absorb and integrate into a wider society or culture, or to become absorbed and integrated into a society or culture. This is the direction I took it. One of the ways we absorb is to learn languages, traditions, cultures, science, and history. Learning all of these things can help us understand different cultures and be able to assimilate and understand them a lot more. And understanding people is important to assimilating, and also is just important in general. One of the main centers of such a learning place is a library, so that's what I decided to draw. The different things that I decided to include were things like scrolls, books, and like bottles, just because it looked cool, but also for different reasons. The scrolls imply a long history. It's something that was used a long time ago, and other than, say, like vocal learning and storytelling that was used in very ancient times, it was one of the things that people used to write things down on in the very beginning. So it implies a very long history, and books have newer inventions like scientific discovery and things like that. It just implies a newer age, so you have like the older stuff and the newer stuff all together in one place. The bottles imply medicine, and medicine is incredibly important. They are the combination of superstition, culture, and scientific discovery, and also the habitat, I guess not the habitat, but the place that's around who's creating the medicine. For example, plants are a huge part of medicine, and some plants just aren't in certain places, so they can't be used for the same issue. So there are different plants, and each civilization used different plants for that type of thing. And knowing those different plants can help you know like which place you are. Learning about a bunch of these different things before you assimilate into a place is technically not necessary. You could learn them on the fly, but it makes the process so much easier to know what you're getting yourself into. There's more than one definition. The second one is to cause, to reassemble, or to liken, or come to resemble. Resembling is just basically the same thing as the first one. You're becoming like a certain thing. The former one is pretty interesting because it indicates a cause or a reason. Something is pushing you to assimilate into the place or group of people that you're trying to assimilate to. This could be because you don't like the group that you were in before, whether it's on a small scale such as a group of friends, or it could be on a wider scale such as you're on the run, you're a refugee, and you want to keep your head down, or you are going into a culture to learn about the culture. So I thought that was really interesting, like to have a motivation. The word assimilate is rooted in Latin, just like the previous one. It started as ad similis, which means to like, which is then combined to assimilare, which eventually turns into the word that we know in Middle English. Now going to the art, the most tedious part of the picture was the coloring. I knew that when I started this type of drawing that is going to be very tedious to pick the colors, because I wanted a certain vibe, and it's dull and dark, and it's pretty hard to get different values in the colors, so I knew it was going to be pretty hard to pick the colors, but I think I did okay. Also, choosing the composition and where everything goes was pretty tricky. I wasn't sure where I wanted everything. I used the default gouache brush to color everything. It gave it a very painty feeling that I wanted. So that's what I drew. Those are my 2 drawings. I hope you enjoyed the video and that you have a good rest of your day.